All right, let's rock and roll. Everybody see and hear me okay? All right. So, who am I and why am I doing this? A lot of you on here actually know who I am, so I'm pretty excited about seeing how many people are still supporting me on my journey. So thanks for that. But 2 seconds on me for those who don't know me. For the last 18 years, I was a straight commission sales guy. So I literally went out and only money I made was if I sold something. Lived that way pretty hardcore for my entire career, and along the way, man, I learned some great things. I learned how to find my own inner badass. I learned how to do the things I didn't want to do, and I just learned how to kick more ass than I thought I was capable of on several occasions. What I wanted to do with this whole webinar for you guys was to really set up a chance to help you really kick ass in 2018. That's what I want. Is I want to teach you everything that I've done up to this point, and freaking really get you guys just jazzed up to rock and roll and really go for it. So I've got this whole thing scheduled out to do about an hour's worth of time. A couple of housekeeping things. This is my first time using Zoom, so there's probably going to be technical problems. So just deal with it if they are. It's technology. And as we go through, I hate PowerPoint, but for visual representation, so you weren't just staring at my mug, I thought you guys would get a kick out of, I actually tried to put a PowerPoint together. So that should be funny as we go along as well. So to kick ass in 2018, there's going to be 5 major things that we're going to go through. And I'm actually going to give you guys assignments as we go through this so that you can really get some tangible assets out of this. So the first 5 things we're going to do or cover is how to inventory your strengths, how to start playing offense, how to get after it, and how to change your attitude and how to really embrace your inner flame, man. And that inner flame is the biggest thing that I'll be talking about is how you really just explode 2018. So for the last 10 years, a lot of you may or may not know this, but I was really curious, 2007 to 2017, is a 10-year timeline. There's a lot of crap that's happened in those last 10 years. Some of them I didn't even think about. Like, did you guys know that June 29th, 2007, the iPhone launched for the first time? The iPhone's only 10 years old. Chase that up within 2009 is when satellite technology first hit mobile phones. Now we live off the stuff. In October of 2010, Instagram launched. It's only 7 years old. And in 2011, Snapchat launched. A lot of people said Snapchat was going to be a fluke, but if you're under 30, Snapchat is the king. And now you can go all the way up to crazy things like now they 3D print organs. They are working on transporters. They're doing all kinds of stuff. So the last 10 years have been pretty freaking spectacular. Some of the greatest things that we've done over the last 10 years is, dude, we survived one of the greatest economic recessions in this country's history, and we're still pushing forward. And imagine the fact that we done all this stuff in 10 years. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next 10 years are going to bring. So step one, for you guys, what I want you to do. So hopefully you are close to a pen and paper to be able to write some things down, because to kick ass in 2018, you're going to really need to kick some ass and explode. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to write down everything you've accomplished in the last 10 years. Make a list of everything, every achievement that you've done over the last 10 years, and start writing them down. I find a lot of times that we don't reflect on things that we've done that have really made us the badasses we are. So by writing these things down, we get an opportunity to dive in and really understand where all our inner strengths and drives come from. So hopefully you guys are starting to write things down. Just start literally everything of significance, everything that is awesome, everything you've done in the last, 10 years that you've accomplished, write it down. I'm going to highlight and give you a couple that I've done, so to kind of help you flesh out some of these badass things. So for me, in the last 10 years, Elizabeth and I celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, which I'm freaking proud of. We just hit 11, this year. We built our dream house, bought our farm, out in the country. Y'all know that I'm out there in Azle, loving life and going for it. Hell, a group of us started a nonprofit that supports cancer care services. I'm really proud of that fact. I started 3 successful networking groups that are all 3 of which are still running without me, which means, maybe I did something right in setting those up. I hit 4 different national sales award and 1 international sales award along the way. I got selected to 40 under 40, which was absolutely awesome. Dude, I built a barn from scratch, literally on my property with my dad and brothers, I guess. We built a entire barn for our goats with hay lofts and everything else. I started my own company. Went out on my own this year to kick ass and just take some names. I survived the economic crash, from 2007 to 2009. All in all, it's been a badass 10 years. And when I sit back and I start writing down all the things that I've accomplished, I'm pretty freaking proud of it. And if you really take some time, and what I find for me is, as I did this list, is it took me a couple of times to go through it to really be able to get all the things in there, because like with anything, if you're anything like me, as you start writing things down, then you squirrel out, and then you're off to another project. So what I do is I have my journal that I keep with me all the time. And I have a page dedicated to the last 20 years and a page dedicated to the last 10 years. And I just start writing down all the things that I've accomplished to keep reminding me of just how awesome these last ride has been. And the reason I want you to do this exercise is we're going to do a thing about how do we really start looking at our own personal strengths and be able to just use those strengths to really kick some ass and go after it in 2018. Okay. So there's 5 categories of strengths we're going to categorize. What I want you to do is, on your sheet of paper, somebody's drawn on my screen. Thank you. What I want you to do, is on your sheet of paper, I want you at the top of the sheet, write the word strengths. And then just below that, like you see on the screen, write down these 5 categories: your strengths in spirit, mind, body, philanthropic, and gratitude. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a journey of where we map out all the strengths. Who's ever drawing on the screen, knock it off. And give you a chance to write down each one of these strengths all the way through, so you can get kind of a really good set of strengths that you maybe hadn't thought about. So strength number 1 I want you to look at is your spirit strength. Okay, so if you're thinking about spirit strength, it's really, how are you embracing the universe? For some people, that's an inner spirit. For some people, it's your spirituality. Some people, it's your inner drive. And what I want you to do is write down all the strengths that you have in that particular arena. So the strengths could be everything for me, it's, journaling. How do you journal? Do you journal? For some of the others, I'm going to unmute you guys so we can all just jump in and throw things at me. How's that? Here we come. That should get loud. Right. So some of the other things, whoop, that's not going to work. Was worth a try. All right. So these are some of the biggest things that have worked for me in my life that I think are an absolute strength for me and have made me absolutely just crush it throughout my career. It's things like journaling. For me, it's meditation. For you, it may be prayer. For me, it's delivering my message, being able to find places to get in front of rooms and really help people go for it. For me, my spirit strength is passion. I think I'm a very passionate person. Another spirit strength for me is positivity. I always seem to try to really, really go for it. I always feel like I'm moving forward and progressing forward. I think another strength for me is really inspiring others. And then, the final one, is I'm constantly challenged in life. So what I want you to do is write down every strength that you have under spirit. And I'll tell you guys, this is the first time I did these exercises. I found them a little difficult to do. That's why I'm trying to give you some options so you can come up with your own list. The next one is your mental strength. And the mental strength is with your mind. What are those strengths you have with your mind? So I want you to do the same thing. Write down all the strengths that you have when you think about your mindset in your mind. So the number one for me is no garbage in. And what I mean by no garbage in is, a lot of you who know me know this: no news, no newspapers, no negative. I don't even get on Twitter anymore, mainly because it's all, once again, the political nightmare and negativity on there, no matter how much you up your feed. So what I try and encourage you guys to do is to find that mental strength of no garbage in. And that's like things like driving your car. What are you listening to? What's inspiring? What do you put inside of you that's helping you become the badass you absolutely are? The next one is constantly seeking knowledge, man. I'm always trying to learn. And I'm always trying to find things that I don't know with my life that I need to get better at, and I'm constantly seeking it out, which leads to the next one of constantly challenge myself. This is my MO to do anything is I just set a date, set a plan, and then I get after it. I mean, like this webinar being the first webinar I've done, prior to today, I had no idea how to set up a webinar. I had no idea how to do the gift I'm going to give you guys at the end of this thing. And I literally gave myself about 2 weeks to pull this whole thing together. And that's what I mean by constantly challenging myself, is constantly finding ways to go after it. The next one is think happy thoughts. And that's always trying to have that positiveness, always trying to keep the negative thoughts out of my head. And keep that personal voice in a positive manner. The other one is another mental strength for me is I'm constantly seeking out badasses. I really want to constantly surround myself with people that are just killing it, people that are just trying to go for it, because we really become who we surround ourselves with. And if you're not surrounding yourself with other badasses, then they're actually pulling you down and not pulling you up. The next one is, willing to educate myself on things I don't understand. And it goes back up to constantly seeking knowledge is if I don't know something, I just try and learn it. I just try and go for it. I really try and just get a better understanding of it. And a lot of times for me, that's just diving the hell in. So write down all the mental strengths that you have. Once again, guys, as you start going through these, you're going to have things that it's going to be tough as you try and come up with these things. But as you continue on the journey, you're going to find it more and more become more relative for you. All right, the next one is body strength. And this is the toughest one for a lot of people, because I know that not a lot of people actually appreciate their own physique and their body, but it's really important that no matter where you are, that you embrace you as a person. So for me, the biggest one I have is my eyes, right? That is the best thing I like about myself. The next one is my beard. I love this thing. I love that I'm not fat. I'm definitely a little out of shape, but I'm not fat. The next one, I enjoy my smile. I enjoy my laugh. I love to laugh. I like my voice. Just don't ask me to sing. And I love a lot of my scars because they do tell a story. The next one that I have in here is your philanthropic strength. Is what are you doing from a philanthropic standpoint to really empower what you're doing and where you're going? And so some of those things are like payback on referrals. With the nonprofit I am, for referrals I get from clients, I donate $25 to a cancer nonprofit. I don't mind giving out to a homeless person. I have clients that I've taken under my wing to do pro bono work for. Networking. I love the networking, which leads to connecting. I love to introduce people. So look out and line out what are all your philanthropic strengths that just make you a badass. And then my favorite one is the gratitude strength. And I think a lot of people don't spend enough time being grateful. So as you write down your list, what are you grateful for? So here's some of the things that I'm really, really grateful for. And it's my marriage, right? I'm grateful for my farm. I'm grateful for the careers I've had because I've learned so much over the years. I'm grateful for the boards I sit on because of the peers that I get to be around. I'm grateful for my family and the support and the love they give me. I'm grateful for my clients. I'm grateful for my life. And guys, I found that looking for your gratitude strength and really trying to define it really helps you wrap your head around what you're trying to become and who you're trying to trying to be. And, an exercise that's helpful for me is starting every day off just by saying thanks. And I've added it in my journal where I'll write down, hey, this is what I'm grateful for. This is what I want to give thanks for today. And it helps you keep you in the right mindset. So for the last 10 years, you've been a badass and you've done some amazing things. And the reason I have you to write those things down is not only so you can embrace it, you can see it, but really so that you can, see that you've accomplished a lot of cool things. And accomplishing all those little things required a crap ton of strengths that you have. And by writing down all those lists, it really will help you define what it took for you to accomplish those things. And to really kick ass in 2018, what I want you to do is start leaning hard on those strengths. A lot of people tell you to focus on your weaknesses and, turn those into a strength. Well, the problem is if you focus on your weakness, then it takes a lot more effort to try and turn it into a strength, and most likely it's not going to be. Instead, focus on your strengths and double down on them. And the more you focus on the strengths, the further you can go and the more things you can absolutely do. And you'll be absolutely amazed at how far you can actually go with it. Right? So double down on your strengths, forget your weaknesses, and let's charge forward into 2018. All right. Tactic number 2 is to start playing offense. And here's what I mean. Is to play offense, most people as they go through life are playing defense. And playing defense is you're playing a game of how do I not lose, right? So playing defense is like keeping a budget, right? You're trying to keep all your finances in a particular order so you don't lose the money you have. Playing defense is where something comes up that you really want to buy and you think, oh, I don't have enough money, versus playing offense, which is how do I go find, how do I go create, how do I get the revenue coming in so I can go buy what I need. So for 2018, I want you to start changing your mindset. And the mindset I want you to start going after is how do I play offense today, right? How do I start focusing on generating different levels of revenue for me and for my business, for my personal life? And the next time somebody walks up to you and says, hey, do you want to go X? Instead of having the mindset of I don't have the money or I'm broke or whatever else, I want you to start changing that mindset of, you know what, let me get back to you. The answer is not no. Let me go see what I can do to see if I can come up with the money to go, right? And what it does is it starts forcing you to change the way you look at things. And, I found as I've run my business, there's several things that I want in my life to go bigger in my business. And I found myself, I wanted a new technology, or I wanted this, or I wanted that. And when I haven't been in the right frame of mind and I've been in that defensive mindset, I've realized that I've talked myself out of things that I should have went for versus going, how do I create more? So playing offense doesn't just cover, finances. It covers everything you do. From, you can think about it from networking. Playing offensive networking is, going up and actually talking to the people that scare the crap out of you. For some people, that's really easy. For some people, that sucks, right? If you're the people that suck, go do it. Playing offense could be taking a huge risk with your business. It could be taking a huge risk in your life. People often ask me when I jumped on my own to do this, did I have a plan in place? Did I have it all worked out? And the answer's always been no, because I had none of that. I didn't have it all worked out. Hell, I didn't know, specifically how I was going to get this business up and running. I just knew that this was my path and I was going to go. That's playing offense. Now, I'm not telling you all to be crazy like I am and just jump in with no safety net, but you really want to get after it and just go big as hell in 2018. Dude, don't look back. Don't give yourself an out. Do the thing that scares the pre-living shit out of you and just flip and go for it. Because the more you actually go for it, the stronger and better you've actually got a chance of kicking a little bit more ass than you planned to in 2018. So quit playing not to lose and start playing to win. Start going bigger and doing more than you thought you could, right? And just start taking the bigger risk than you have in the past. I was talking to a young lady yesterday as I was upgrading my phone because I broke the screen on mine. And, she's working retail at a T-Mobile store, and she wasn't miserable. But, as we got talking, she's like, I want to be in the music venue. And I said, well, go be in a music venue. And here's how to quickly tell when someone's playing defense versus offense. She looked at me and she said, well, I can't go do that because I have bills to pay. I said, okay, what kind of bills to pay? She goes, well, I live with my mom and I help pay part of the rent. And she goes, and my car is paid for. I don't have any credit cards. I said, so really, your financial situation is you're helping your mom pay for the rent. Good on you. Um, and your lifestyle. She goes, yeah, pretty much. I said, what's stopping you? She goes, well, everything. And I was like, well, how old are you? She's like, I'm 23. I'm like, dude, you got nothing to lose. You're 23. You have hardly any responsibility other than showing up for a job and helping your mom with rent. Can you send your mom money from anywhere you go in the world? Right. Long story short, she really wants to go to California. I don't know if she's actually going to pull the trigger and do it, but that defensive mindset is getting her to look at her life like she's stuck versus getting her to look at how do I go do, how do I create, how do I find and go do the things that I'm absolutely passionate about. So as you look at 2018 and you're really trying to go for it and kick as much ass as possible, start playing offense. Quit playing that defensive mindset of I don't know. Um, I can't figure it out. I know business owners all the time that need to hire an employee and they're like, I don't even know how to go about that. So that defensive mindset of I don't know forces them to not do the things they need to do for their business. um, Others, they know they need to spend money on training their employees, but they look at their line item and their budget's not there. They're thinking from a defensive mindset versus how do I create it, how do I go make it, how do I actually get it to a tangible asset so I can do the things I want. So number two, start playing offense. Number three, I love that picture, is get after it. Okay, here's what I mean by get after it. Is most people I know, when it comes to their actual work ethic, are pretty freaking lazy. Most people are playing the game of good enough is good enough, and I'm just going to do enough to get by. And, for some of you, I love it. It's fine. It's great. We need people like you. Okay. Absolutely. But if you're really going to try and kick ass in 2018, you are going to have to up your game, amp it the hell up so you can go big and loud, right? You've got to do things 10 times more than you've done in the past. And here's the honest truth, guys. I can tell you anytime in my career when I was unsuccessful to the level of success I wanted to see. And by the way, I can't define success for you. That's only something you can define. But success for me is freedom, right? To be able to do what I want whenever I wanted. When I found myself in careers where I wasn't as successful, that level of freedom, I can tell you 100% is because I was not getting after it. I wasn't working my ass off to the level to absolutely go for it. Right. I had what was called in the sales world an employee mindset, right? Or a buyer's mindset, meaning that I just showed up for my job, did what I was told, and went home. Dude, if you're going to crush it in 2018, you're going to kill it and kick a lot of ass. You can't sit back on your ass and do nothing. Right? If you're showing up to work when you're supposed to and going home when the clock says 5 o'clock or whenever the shops, is closing down, and you're doing nothing beyond that, one of two things are happening. Number one, you probably hate your job. Number two, you probably suck at your job. Okay. And here's what I mean. Doing this job that I'm in now, I'm driving my wife nuts because of how many hours I'm putting in on a regular basis. And I'm working longer and longer hours. And some of you guys that are chasing your passion, I know some of you guys who are business owners that put in a crap ton of hours with your business, and that's what I'm talking about. But the hours I'm putting in on this is creating that next level, creating those revenue streams and going bigger than I ever thought I was. But it wasn't until I jumped in my own business that I realized full on that I hadn't been getting after life like I should be getting after it. And dude, I've had some great successes in my life. right? And now that I'm really getting after it, holy cow. I'm telling you guys, my days now, I get home and I'm flat out exhausted, flat out worn out, not physically, but mentally, because I'm constantly pushing myself. Getting after it is doing the things you don't want to do and doing them anyways. Getting after it is doing the things you should be doing even when nobody's watching, right? It's picking a destination and going for it. It's thinking bigger than you've ever thought and scaling for it, right? I've set a goal for myself of being in front of 100 million people in the next 10 years, right? That is a lofty damn goal, right? The only way I'm going to be able to do it is through technology and massive audiences. So that scares the pure living shit out of me because that is huge. That is massive. That is an astronomical goal. It's doable through technology. It's doable through audiences. But to go that massive scale, that's what I'm talking about getting after it, is changing the mindset of how big you really can go. I mean, hell, if they can put a man on a moon in 10 years, I can reach 100 million lives, right? So to do that, it's just going to require a ton of effort, a ton of energy. And that's the getting after it I need to constantly be thinking about. And then it's looking at my business. How the hell do I scale my business large enough to be able to handle something like that? And that's a lot of exposure. It's a lot of touches. It's a lot of craziness on social media and everything else to be able to go and do that much work out there. So for 2018, you really, really have to do the things you don't want to do, but do them bigger and better. And the only way you're going to be able to pull that off is if you're actually doing what you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to do the things you don't want to do. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to get charged up. Dude, I was so excited about doing this webinar today that I woke up about 3 o'clock this morning after going to bed at 11 and started working on all this again just to make sure it was rocking and rolling, and make sure, what I'm doing at the end of this thing was to a stable enough condition that I can roll it out, because I really want you guys to have the greatest shot at just exploding it and kicking as much ass. So number 3 for 2018 to really get it rocking is to just flat out get after it. Number 4 is to change your attitude. Okay, this one is a biggie for me. Most people don't know that when they walk through life, 80% of the thoughts that are running through their head are negative at any given time, right? They don't even consciously realize that they're looking at life through a negative mindset. They're looking at life like this is it. And what I found is a lot of my journey through life, I did find myself in this state of mind. And it was all because my attitude was always looking at things, with that negative mindset. So write down this phrase for me. Action drives attitude. Okay? Action drives attitude. And what most people think is they have to be motivated to do. They have to be in the right frame of mind to be able to accomplish something. Well, it's all bullshit, right? If you want to do, then do. And your attitude will follow quickly behind. And a lot of people were like, well, I just can't do that. Well, here's a second phrase I want you to write down, which is courage creates confidence, right? Confidence is not a thing. It is something we create. And the only way to create confidence is by actually having the courage to do the things that scare the shit out of us, right? So if you want to change your attitude, start doing. I love this example of, I'll be walking through my house. Maybe it's after dinner. I walk in the kitchen and there's all the pots and pans from dinner are in the sink. Part of the problem is if I look at that situation, go, man, I just don't feel like doing the plate, everything else, I can do them in the morning. They will sit there all day. And if I go, when I get motivated, I'll do the plates and everything. They won't get done. But here's a cool thing. If I start doing those dishes, right, and I start getting them up, loading the dishwasher up, I don't just stop with the dishes. Next thing you know, I'm wiping the counters down. Next thing you know, I'm sweeping the floors. Next thing you know, I'm wiping off the cabinets, right? Next thing you know, I'm working in the dining room, right? Motivation and drive and all of that come from action, right? You can't feel it to do it. You can't just talk yourself into doing it. You got to do it, and then everything else comes. I hate these self-help people that are like, just tell yourself I love myself 100 times. That shit doesn't work because there's no action with it, right? You want to change your attitude so you can really go for it, then you absolutely have to start taking actions. And what actions do you need to take? It's probably the shit you don't want to do, right? Like me, I hate doing dishes, but I do them, right? I hate doing operational shit for my business, but it has to be done, right? That's what I'm talking about. You have to physically go do, right, before you can become. Say that again. You have to go do before you become, right? And a lot of people, when things scare them, they freeze. Guys, I'm telling you, when you have some sort of scare, fear, whatever pop in, that is the universe saying, let's see what you got. That's the time you need to step up and flip and go for it. Quit sitting back, because it's when you sit back that your whole life falls to that just mundane level of okayness, right? And most people are mad at themselves because they're not motivated enough to do whatever. Well, the truth is they're not mad because they're not motivated. They're mad because they're not doing. And so mentally, they're kicking their own ass because when they don't do, it forces them into a situation where they don't know how to change their attitude. And they're waiting for the world to show up for them. Well, guys, the world's never going to show up. You have to go create the world you want. So if you really want to kick ass, in 2018, you're going to have to take massive action. Do bigger, do more. Go back to the last rule, which is get after it, right? Is you're going to have to start changing your attitude. The number one way I find outside of doing to change attitude is, I think most of you should have got it, and I have it in here, if not, but is journaling, dude. It's been the greatest thing to change my attitude, especially now that I'm working a lot more hours than I'm used to. Dude, in the mornings, I'm tired as hell. But when I get up and I start journaling, it forces me to change my state of mind to go bigger, do more, create more. And dude, that's been a game changer for my life. And I'll talk more about journaling here in a second, but you have to start taking action in your life. Start going bigger, start doing more, start creating more than you thought you could do in the past. All right. Then the last one, here's my favorite. And I love this drawing on the side of the screen because it really sets off my candle image. All right. This is it, guys. You have to embrace your inner flame. And let me explain it. I truly believe everybody has an inner badass. I think most people are just scared to unleash it. So inside of each and every one of you is this little flame burning, just like a candle. For some, man, that flame is like a pilot light on a stove. It's a tiny, tiny little bitty flame. For others, that flame is like a raging bonfire. If you really want to give life one hell of a go, then your internal flame has got to be a bonfire. And this is what I mean. Is you've got to be going after life so hard, so big and loud, that your passion explodes out of you so gratefully that you're actually fueling the fire of the people around you. This is why it's so important to surround yourself with other people that are trying to kick ass in life, right? And it's really going and making sure that the fuel for your fire, which is the input from the outside world, which is the knowledge you're putting in, it's the inspiring other people, it's everything you do is either throwing more logs in that fire to create a bonfire, or it's pulling things away from your fire and pushing that flame down to a tiny amount, right? A lot of you don't have the tiny little flame. What you have is the campfire. And here's the campfire. Your inner flame as a campfire is You're living in that state of okayness. You've gotten to a point in your life where you're really just okay being you. You're okay here. But that little voice in the back of your head keeps saying, you know, you need to go for it. You know, you need to do bigger. But that bigger scares the hell out of you. And by the way, that campfire, it's really warm. It's really nice to sit around. Well, dude, everything that you really want is just outside of the light of that fire. And you have to find ways to increase that flame so it becomes an absolute bonfire. And here's a couple of ways you can do it. One, change your friends, right? I know this one sucks. But if you don't change your influence of the people you're surrounding yourself with, you will become the people you surround yourself with. And if the people you're surrounding yourself with are not constantly charged up and trying to go for it and create more, once again, they're dragging you down. Second, change your input, right? And change your input is start changing what you feed your mind. Start changing what you're listening to. Start changing what you're reading. Start changing what you're focusing on in life. And the other one is start teaching. This was a game changer for me. Is start spreading your learnings to others. You don't really know something until you start teaching it. So if you've learned a new concept, start giving it to other people. If you learned a good business lesson, start giving it to other people. Start sharing that knowledge. And what you find is you continue to share that knowledge and spread those thoughts and things you're working on, you're going to know who is receptive to it. And when you find people who are receptive to it, they pull up to your campfire. And then what happens is two fires become one, right? And that flame gets bigger. And the more people you try and teach and the more people you try and inspire with your passion of whatever it is you're doing, is the more big your flame gets. And the bigger your flame gets, the bigger your life gets. And the more fun it gets. And the more things you can do and the more things you inspire, right? But you have to start focusing on you. I love when a stewardess comes out on the planes and she says, when the oxygen mask falls, put your oxygen mask on you before anybody else. And I don't have kids, but I imagine if I had a kid, that'd be a really hard thing for me to do, to put my own oxygen mask on versus my child, because you take care of them first. But the reason they tell you that is you got to take care of you so you can take care of others. Well, for me, taking care of me really was, constantly feeding myself knowledge, constantly giving me things to do more and become more so I can give it to other people. And as I deliver the message to other people, I increase their flame because they're constantly embracing the knowledge. So what I want you to do, guys, is keep throwing logs in that fire. Keep growing your inner badass. Keep charging after it and go bigger and bigger and bigger, because the larger you go, the more things you can do and the more stuff you can actually accomplish. Right. And I promise you guys, if you feed that fire by chasing your passion, chasing your destiny, and just flip and go for it, you'll be amazed at what you do and amazed at what you want to accomplish. But I promise you, if you're sitting around the campfire and it's just nice and cozy, it's going to take courage to go step out in that darkness, to grab more limbs, grab more logs to throw in that fire. Right. But remember, you don't wait for the attitude to get right. You just start doing and watch what happens. So kick ass in 2018, embrace that inner flame and just flip and go for it. So I did want to do a couple things as part of this whole workshop. And I figured, I've never done a webinar before. I've never really seen a webinar before. So this is my thought process and how the best way to end one of these out. So I wanted to give you a gift. I have spent the last week and a half, literally when I set this webinar up, I set two missions. Mission number one is I would do a webinar before the end of the year. Okay. I pushed it pretty close. Mission number two is I would have a website set up prior to that webinar that people could go in and be surrounded by other badasses. So there's a couple of things that come along with this. So I created the website, thesuccesschamp.com. And there's membership levels in it from free to my elite members. The, the goal of the whole website is to get badasses to a place where they can congregate and we can all rise up together. So there's free memberships in there that you can go. You get access to videos and content and articles and forums. There's a $47 membership. There's a $97 membership, and then my elites are at $9.97. Right. So there's a ton of membership levels on here because I've had several people on this journey that want to do something with me from a coaching standpoint, training standpoint, or just a mentorship type thing. This is my way I can help them. This is how I'm going to touch the masses. And this is how I'm going to reach so many people. So what is my gift? Is if you go to thesuccesschamp.com and you go in and register, guys, you can register for free, right? Absolutely. And you can get a limited access to some of the stuff. But if you go there and you register, you use the code KICKASS2018, you'll get 5% off your membership. This code is only lasting till December 31st. You basically got 2 days to do this code. Some people have asked me if I'm recording this thing, so I may extend it beyond that. But for right now, you get 2 days to use this discount code. Now, let me tell you, I built this whole thing completely by myself, and I have been putting in some amazing hours building this thing. So there's not a lot of content in there built up, but it's coming. There's a lot of video footage coming up in there. There's a lot of articles coming, and I'm fixing to take a massive full frontal assault on this thing to really, really make it as big and as badass as possible. But some of the cool things that you guys are going to see in there is you'll be able to interact with all the other badasses who are jumping in the game to share ideas, share thoughts. You'll have opportunities of coaching with me based on the different levels. The I think it's the lower. There's free membership. The classic membership gets people access to a once a month webinar similar to this, but it'll be more collaborative where everybody can talk. The next membership gets people to a group coaching session where it's really more limited down to like 10 people in a hardcore group of constantly pushing and coaching. And then the elite members are getting put into mastermind groups to where we will be heavily focused on personal growth for them and their businesses. So it's a really cool idea of how we, can collectively rise up together and really, really go for it. So that's my gift to you. And if you need more information on it, it's literally just go to thesuccesschamp.com. You can email me after this. I'll get you more information, but use the code KICKASS2018 and get you 5% off. All right. Next is most of you should have got it as you signed up for this thing, but if not, go to my other website, DonnieBovine.com/jackassjournal. This is the ebook I put together, and it's literally will walk you through in a very, very short, quick read of how I learned how to journal. And journaling was a game changer for me. It tells you in the book about how I tripled my income based on journaling and how we were able to buy our dream house and farm and stuff. But that's the cool portion of it. About 3 days after you download the journal, you'll get an invite to a private Facebook group. And the cool thing about that is every day I'm putting out journal prompts. So, a lot of people struggle with journaling because they don't know what to write. Well, every day I'm actually launching out a journal prompt for you to journal on that day. And each day has a particular theme that goes along with it. Like Deep Thought Wednesday or Focus Friday. I actually created a fun one, Silly Saturday in there just so you can get the breakup from the hardcore thinking that journaling is supposed to make you do. So if you go to DonnieBovine.com/jackassjournal, it's a free download. If you don't have it, go get it. And then literally 3 days later, you'll get an invite to a private Facebook group. But that's it for me really on this whole webinar, guys. My whole goal of this thing was to give you tangible things that you guys could use to really just kick ass better than you thought you could for this year. Stop share. Let's move forward. So I really hope that you guys got a lot out of this. I hope this was a lot of value for you. And I really hope that you are just inspired like a son of a gun to go big as hell in 2018. If I can help you guys out in any way, please let me know what I can do. Drop me a private chat, send me an email, anything I can do to help you guys out. I really and would love to do that. Thanks, Leah. I'm going to unmute you guys really quick in case there's any last minute questions or anything. So if you guys got anything you want to ask or any of the concepts, feel free to throw them out. We got 10 minutes left of time. And guys, thank you for all the private messages and all that. I really appreciate it. Anybody have any questions or anything I can ask for before we get out of here?
Yeah, Donnie, this is Ken Sullivan. Can you send out an email with a link to this recording and your website and all of that? I'm assuming you have everyone's email address so that we all have this information to watch again.
I can sure do that, bud. I can sure do that.
Terrific. Great webinar.
Thanks, brother. Any other questions? Guys, thanks for sitting through this. Hey, one other thing, if you guys have any feedback on this, let me know. I'd love to get any feedback on it. All right, guys, if that's it.
Very motivational, buddy.
All right, thanks, brother. All right, guys, y'all be good. We'll catch you on the flip side. Later.
See ya.